What does it mean to own your happiness? And what does it take to own your happiness? Stay tuned for this Happy Now Olivia video. Hi guys! Hi guys! In this video I'm going to share with you what I think it means to own your happiness and what it takes to own your happiness. And Hi guys! Hi guys! In this video I'm going to share with you what I think it means to own your happiness and what it takes to own your happiness. And among many things, I'll be talking about perspective, gratitude, determination, discipline, curiosity, and purpose. And by the end of the video, I hope that by the end of the video, I hope that some of you will be reassured that you're on the right path, that you're on your way, on the road of being happy. And some of you will be inspired, perhaps, to get on the journey if you're not already there. And many of you will feel proud of what the significance of what you're accomplishing is. Because being happy, owning your happiness is such an important task. It's such a big task in our world today. And taking that on is absolutely remarkable. So owning your happiness means taking responsibility for your life, taking charge of your happiness, which also includes taking charge of your health, right? And when I talk about health, I mean, for me, it means the health of my soul, the health of my mind, and the health of my body, in that order. And the health of my body is what enables everything else. Nobody wants to be in pain. Nobody wants to be sick or decrepit. I certainly don't want to be in pain or sick or decrepit. And I know everything I do, a lot of the things I do to prevent that. I do because I've been in pain. I know what it's like. I know how distracting it is from everything. And what happens, of course, is when people try to numb that pain, it only gets worse. So what's the opposite of taking responsibility, right? So the opposite of taking responsibility, of owning your happiness, is what? It's the lack of taking responsibility, right? We live in a world today where, more than at any other time in history, people have lost sight of themselves. They have lost sight of the power they have inside of themselves, which is the engine of our happiness. Every second of the day, we are bombarded with advertisements. Every second we have someone telling us what to think, what to wear, what to eat, what to buy, what to say, what to feel. I might have repeated one of those, but you get the point. People have forgotten, essentially, how to think for themselves, how to feel for themselves, how to pay attention to that voice inside of themselves. And part of that is because people are going from task to task like hamsters, like in a wheel. And everything's going so fast in our world today. And we're bombarded, of course, due to technology and the new digital world, constantly, all the time, right? Sort of assailed. And it it contributes to that feeling of inertia a lot of people sort of go through. The responsibility to own your happiness means you have to take the front seat of your life, right? You have to be in the front wheel. What is that called? You're driving your car, okay? But so many people are happy to be in the passenger seat these days, and some people are in the back, okay, watching a movie or on their phone. I mean, they're checked out from life, kind of, as everybody else sort of wants to take responsibility, because we live in a world where, and since the dawn of human civilization, somebody's trying to sell you something, right? But today, the reach of that is so profound that we live in a world where generations of young people, I don't know that they know what a moment of silence, what a moment of silent introspection means, right? And unfortunately, we also live in a world with generations of parents that have entrusted the education of their children and the sort of the development of their children to mainstream culture, you know, to educational institutions, to everybody but themselves. And if you're a child in that environment, there's so much going against you, because there's so many people that are trying to take that place of inculcating, of indoctrinating, of teaching, of whatever it may be. But if it's not your parents, if they're not the final moral authority in your life showing you what is right and what is wrong, other people will, for sure. So let me get back on track to what I said I was going to talk about. You guys will have to keep me honest and forgive me when I get off the eloquent cart or the trying to keep one line of thought cart. My mind goes 1,000 miles an hour. So you guys have to help me out. Perspective and owning your happiness. There are many people who are always sort of thinking that there's a utopia somewhere, either in the past or the future. So people who believe that somehow the past was better. Well, let me tell you, I'm here to tell you, I read about the past constantly. I read about Greek times, Roman times, 19th century, 18th century, all times in history. And what always amazes me is that at every time, people had their own struggles. It was never perfect. It's never perfect in this world or in any age. There's always been good and evil. There have always been people trying to sell you something. Yeah, today we have the internet. It's hard to get away from, but misinformation has been a part of human history forever. So it's perhaps misguided to think that sometime in the past or trying to go back to that is going to bring perfection. It's okay to derive wisdom from the past, and with that's what history is for, right? To learn from mistakes of previous generations. And for example, many people extol some kind of ideal of perfect, sort of in nature type of thing. And yes, we want to go into the woods, we want to be in nature, we want to commune with nature, take advantage of that and take care of her. But it's naive to think that we're ever going to go back to cave times or some idyllic time people think was perfect. That's not going to happen. Technology is here to stay. It's only going to evolve. So we have to do the best we can with what we have, and with our world we have to face the reality of our times and our world, the way every other culture had to, and every other age of humanity had to. And then there are the people, and then there are the people who believe the opposite, right? That the answer is always in technology or science, or somebody in a white lab coat telling you what to do or what to think. That's it. You don't have the answer. Technology, computers, scientists, they have the answer. And don't get me wrong, they have many answers. They have a lot of information. They have a lot of things that are helpful. But they don't have all the answers. There is no computer in this world ever that will ever compare to the human brain. Ever. Well, Olivia, come on. Humans invented the computer, right? So the computer, you can't say that the human brain is. There are computers that are beating chess masters at chess. We're assailed with movies and television telling us artificial intelligence will take over. And maybe it will, but it will never compare to what a human being is capable of doing by the power of their own will and choice. Because it's not all about the brain, right? There is the heart and the soul. And that can never be reproduced by machine. And there, of course, is a big world of academia and people who sort of are married to proof or ideas or tangible things they can grasp or see. And sometimes that is a narrow way of seeing the world and seeing things. In 1984, which is incidentally the year I was born, an atomic Swiss physicist named Dr. Carlos Rubia won the Nobel Prize for discovering that 1 billion units of energy are required to materialize 1 unit of matter. Let me say that again. We need 1 billion units of energy to materialize 1 unit of matter that we can see, right? The energy we can't see. Okay, what does that mean, Olivia? It means that for every one particle we can see, there are 1 million things we can't see, surrounding it, creating it. And what I'm trying to say here is, for example, there are so many things we don't see that we may not even understand, or that isn't something that can be quote unquote proved, right? Proved by 21st century technology and thinking. Let's just put it that way. The power of, for example, what it takes to materialize words are billions and billions and billions of units of energy. That's why words are so powerful, for example. We all remember, words have the power to give, to take away, to create, to destroy. How many of you remember an unkind word? How many of you remember a hateful word said against you? For decades, right? There are people who hold on to grudges their entire lives because of something someone said. That can be the power of words. That's why it's so important to think about everything we say, everything we do, and everything we say, everything that is material, everything that is materialized in this world comes from a lot of power, holds a lot of power. And we also live in a world where sort of words and thoughts and ideas have kind of been trivialized by the digital medium. it's so easy to say a hateful thing via text, Twitter, whatever it may be. And that's definitely kind of outside the scope of this video to go in depth into, but you guys know what I'm talking about. People have lost sight of the responsibility of their words and the power they hold. So perspective. So in terms of perspective, owning your happiness means understanding that there is only now, that where we are now is our playing field. That taking responsibility today in this world for everything we do and everything we say and everything we choose for ourselves is really the only way to go. Having the perspective of understanding what the past, having the perspective of understanding what the past has given us and what the future may provide, but that essentially the answers are all in the present. Gratitude. So gratitude. Let's talk about gratitude now. Gratitude. So let me talk about gratitude now. Gratitude is so incredibly important to being happy. It does also give you perspective, but to understand how lucky we are, wherever we are, whoever we are, for the things that we have, for the people in our lives, for the opportunities we've had, for the hope we already have. These are all things that only help us in our journey of happiness. This is not a Hallmark card or a platitude or some trivial comment. Like gratitude, when you feel it, you understand. When you feel it genuinely, because it's that genuine love for your life and everyone else's, and for the beauty, the miracle of life, of the world, of everything. The more that you see that further and further away from you, the more that you can expand that gratitude outside of yourself, or that awareness of how lucky you are, the happier you're going to be. The easier it's going to be to own that happiness, because taking responsibility for life, for things, for choices, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Sometimes it is. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. And that's of course where discipline comes in. Discipline is supremely important to taking responsibility. Our good habits, our bad habits, these are all things that shape our everyday lives and who we are and why we may rise or why we may fail, why we may fall. Discipline is something you learn. It's something you develop, and that is a huge problem in our world today, right? The lack of discipline of so many, especially young people. But young people are becoming not so young anymore, right? It's so many people don't have discipline to to mark a goal, to set a goal for themselves and achieve it, whatever it may be. And there's so many distractions. There are so many distractions going against us. And that is why good parenting is so profoundly important. I mean, it is in general. But there are two main things parents are supposed to provide for their children. Well, there are a couple, but two of the main ones: love and discipline. Well, what do you see today? Everywhere around you, you don't even see what I consider to be perhaps love. I mean, you see love, but a lot of it is coddling. A lot of it is spoiling. And then the lack of discipline. And you have complete dysfunction. Complete falling apart. People who don't have confidence, don't have courage, don't have the courage in themselves to accomplish simple things. And if you can't do the simple tasks of living, it's much harder to do the difficult tasks, which are many. Discipline is supremely important. Supremely important. Taking responsibility is so challenging, especially if you haven't been, or if you're new to it, because it means doing things you don't like to do. And we live in a world constantly telling you need to like everything, you need to love everything, or everybody's supposed to somehow please you. The world is here to please you, right? No, the world is not here to please you. The world is simply here. What we do with it is our own. If we're pleased or not is our choice, not the world's. Discipline. The people in this world, I'm fascinated. You guys know that I'm fascinated with, well, you guys know that I'm fascinated. You guys know that I'm fascinated with the people I admire in this world, and I read about a lot of successful people. And one thing that is common to all of them, and something specific I've read about success: people who succeed do things they don't like to do and they don't want to do. But they know they need to do them to get somewhere, to succeed, to achieve. There's so many things you have to do that you don't want to do. What is one way parents can succeed in teaching their children discipline? Chores, right? Chores. How many kids do you know who love to do their chores? Maybe there are some, because maybe the way that you parent is a way that children are sort of proud of what they're doing and what they're achieving. But for the most part, there are many things as kids we don't want to do. But we have to, because there's discipline, there's a certain law in the house, you just have to. So you learn that. You want to do homework, or do you want to play? You want to play, but you do homework. If you want to achieve some kind of academic success. You go to practice or you slack off. That's going to determine what kind of athlete you are, what kind of team you're on, how much do you win, how much do you lose, right? There's so many things people do. They don't want to practice. How many years do musicians, dancers, athletes just spend hour after hour practicing things that are difficult for 1 hour on a stage, or one moment where you shine like a diamond, but before that you had a lifetime of polishing, of crafting that diamond. That is the power of discipline. That is the power of discipline. That is the power of discipline. The power to get you the things you want. No, you don't get things because people tell you that you're going to get them if you want them, right? Oh, you're automatically should be happy because that's your right. No. People who tell you that, pay attention. Pay attention to everything around you. And pay attention to people's motives. And what they're trying to sell you, what their motive is, what their agenda is, what's behind what they're telling you. Because you are the only one with the answers for yourself. But when it comes to discipline, what do you need? Determination. They're kind of hand in hand. Without determination, you can't really have much discipline, especially to do the things you don't want to do, which is mostly what really, I think, discipline really comes down to, right? I don't know that you need much discipline to, I don't know, just sort of watch TV or have fun. I don't think that requires discipline. I think that's just sort of having fun. Without determination, without determination, it's very difficult to. Without determination, it's very difficult to own your happiness, to take responsibility. Without determination, it's very, very difficult to own your happiness. Taking responsibility is an active pursuit. Determination is sort of it's an engine roaring forward, right? It's a car revving the engine and just hitting the accelerator. That's determination. When I talked about owning your happiness and owning your health before, I said part of that was owning the health of your body, right? It's, especially in our times, is sort of such a daunting task. There's so much out there, so much misinformation, so much information, so many people telling us what to do or how to be healthy, for example. Everybody has an opinion. We can't hear our own voice. We can't pay attention to our own bodies. And it takes determination to kind of weed through that, to get through the muck of all that, to find something, some kernel of truth of your own experience. Which is ultimately what matters the most. How many people do you know who have entrusted their health to someone else? And how many of you think that it's possible for someone else to heal you? How many of you have, I don't know, maybe ever heard a doctor say, "I'm sorry, I can't heal you"? You know, that we've done everything we can. First of all, no one has the power to heal you. Only the body heals itself. What we have the power to do, and what others who are true healers have the power to do, is help your body heal. Help you help yourself. And basically get out of the way, because the human body is just, it's such a miracle. It is so resilient. It is so remarkable. And people have lost sight of that. They're so scared. They're so scared. They're so medicated. And that's not helping. To try to figure out the signs our body gives us. The pain that you may feel. The disease that may manifest at that point. Pain and things that, headaches for example, stomach aches, these are all signs. These are all sort of loving messages from your body, essentially telling you, hey, stop for a second, pay attention. Something's wrong. Something's wrong. And it's only getting worse unless you stop and change. Think about a car, for example. What happens when the oil light comes on? Or some kind of little light comes on? What do? Well, let me tell you what I do. I don't know much about cars. So about the only light I can take care of is the low air tire light. Okay, I can kind of basically do that, right? Any other light that turns on in my car, telling me something's wrong, I have to go to the shop to take care of. Because what happens if I put a piece of electrical tape or a piece of paper covering that light? Like, oh, this light is kind of annoying. I can't really see the speed and the, it's kind of really in my face. What if you just ignore it? Your car's going to break, right? Something bad is going to happen. Same thing with your body. And yet people are putting tape over their symptoms constantly, instead of trying to figure out the root cause of what's going on. And the root and trying to find the root cause of things, that's not something inherent to Western culture, right? That's something the Eastern world, the wisdom of ancient medicine, like in China, in India. These people have figured it out for millions of years. And today we have lost sight of that wisdom. But essentially, it takes determination to make difficult choices, to follow on that discipline. It takes determination sometimes to be grateful. It takes determination to have perspective. The other thing I said, was important to winning your happiness is curiosity. Curiosity may have killed a cat, but for us, it's a wonderful thing, okay? Because the world is so busy telling us what to do and what to buy, what to say, what to think, what to feel. Our level of curiosity, perhaps as a human race or even as on an individual level, has sort of gone down. And you think, well, Olivia, people are discovering things every day. They're discovering new technology. There's so much progress scientifically, technologically in this world. Yes, that is true. That is a kind of curiosity that continues. But I'm talking about a different kind of curiosity. I'm talking about the curiosity to wonder things about your life. For example, if you're sad, why am I sad? And not just trying to look for an answer somewhere else, trying to find something that will stop you from being sad, that will stop you from being depressed, that will stop you from being angry. Not sort of band-aids for any of these. I'm talking about the curiosity that drives people to search within themselves for an answer. That curiosity. For example, I think there is always a way. There is always an answer. Any pain that I have, any problem that happens to me, my first reaction is Not who can help me, but how can I help myself? What knowledge should I take? What information is best? What are my options? But not perhaps the kinds of options we're used to that in the world of the mainstream. I'm talking about things that aren't talked about or that you have to dig for, because this world is very interested in sort of, in a way, convincing you that you are not capable of living your life, that you need something else. And you may need something else, but that choice has to be yours. Ouch. Ay, Diosito. Ow. Come on, relax your legs. What in the world? Oh. Hui. Children, when I think of the best aspect of curiosity, I think of children, right? I think of especially babies when they're discovering the world, right? There is nothing that they are not curious about because they're just so excited to absorb and learn and intake information. That's the kind of spirit. That's the same kind of spirit we need to own our happiness. Taking responsibility means essentially answering our own questions via our own intuition and our own capacity to think for ourselves, to take good information. First of all, to decide what's good information to begin with, separate it from what's bad, and then take what's good and apply it and find some answers based on what we feel, what we observe about ourselves. Not others, but ourselves. Others' experiences may be helpful. I love other people's experiences. They teach me a lot. But when all is said and done, what I trust the most, it's what's in here. It's what's in here. Always. And I'm always asking questions. Always. That's what it takes. Happiness is not somewhere else. Happiness is not somewhere else. Happiness is not something, an answer somebody else can give you. Happiness is inside you. You just have to have the curiosity to find it. Happiness is inside you. Happiness is inside you. You just have to have, happiness is inside you. You just have to have the curiosity to find it. And the last thing I want to, the last thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to owning your happiness is purpose. Purpose is so important. Purpose is the sun inside you, lighting your way. It is the engine of your life. Now, it may take a while sometimes to find your purpose. It took me 33 years. But every step along the way, I lived with purpose. And what that means is, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter where life has put you, what your circumstances are, what your job is, even if you don't like it. If you do your best everywhere, if you work, if you're hardworking, if you're honest, if you're helpful, if you're kind, if you're determined in every area of your life, it will only lead you to the next step, because you will be in tune with what's inside you, guiding you along the way. So there is no way, if you live that way, that you won't figure out what your bigger purpose might be. And when you find that purpose, everything you do makes sense. Even without it. Even if you think to yourself, Olivia, I don't have a clear purpose. I'm young. I haven't even finished school, college, or I'm still sort of in between jobs. I don't really know what I want to do. Right? Some people just know. Some people have a calling from the beginning. They know, I want to be an artist. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a healer. I want to be a musician. I want to be an athlete. They have sort of a vocational purpose, right? Of you find something you like to do and you think, okay, I want to get better at this. That's it. That's a kind of purpose of what your job is. But there are a lot of different levels of purpose in life. There's your purpose as a human being, and the purpose is tied to roles, right? You can have a purpose as a husband. You can have a purpose as a father. You can have a purpose as an individual, as a human being. You can have an overall purpose as a human soul. But no matter what they are, as long as you think in these terms, as long as you see your life in these terms, you will always take responsibility for your actions. You will always take responsibility for everything that happens to you. Because you know that whatever's happening is happening for a reason. That whatever's happening is meant to teach you something, is meant to propel you forward. Happiness is a state of movement. You've heard people say, happiness is a state of mind. I've said it too. I'm saying it now. It is a state of mind, but it is also a state of action. Happiness is always moving forward. Life is always movement. It's never stasis. When people are in stasis, they're sort of frozen in time. They're stagnating. You either go backwards in life or you move forward. Pay attention to everyone around you. Start trying to see what you think. If you think they're going forward or if you think they're going backwards, and why. Ask yourself why. You always have the answers. You just have to think. You just have to feel. You just have to trust your intuition. And the more you do, the more it will sharpen. The more it will lead you the right way. Taking responsibility, taking charge, taking action, taking thought, taking feeling, taking everything in your life, everything you are, everything you want to be, embracing it, nurturing it, moving forward, understanding that you have the answers. You may have forgotten, but I haven't. I know you have the answers, because I know I have the answers. I make mistakes. Yeah, I make a lot of mistakes. But guess what? There isn't a single mistake. There isn't a single mistake I've made in my life. And believe me, I remember a lot of my mistakes. Okay? There are mistakes you never forget. There are things you're ashamed of. There are things you wish you never did or said. Everything that I've ever done, that has been some kind of a mistake, I learned from every single thing. Every single thing. A lot of people beat themselves up and sort of stay there for a long time. You make a mistake, you fall. That's okay. Feel it. Feel the pain. Let it go. If it's physical, it's easier. If it's emotional, it's a lot harder. But it's possible. And you move forward. You move forward, and then the next action you consciously take with those lessons behind you. And everything you are, and everything you've been through, and everything you're going through is so exciting. It's so exciting because you are unique. There is no one like you. There is nobody with your life and your experience. There is nobody that can do what you can do. When you have a hard time trying to figure out what your purpose is, think about yourself. Think about what you can do that no one else can. And if you don't have an answer, then find something. Find something you want to do someone else hasn't done. My mom and I joke sometimes when it comes to my own purpose and what I'm doing, and calling happy now Olivia, happy later Olivia. But guys, guess what? It's not happy later Olivia. It's not happy tomorrow Olivia. It's not happy yesterday Olivia. It's not happy next week Olivia. It's not even happy today Olivia. It's happy now. It's happy this moment. It's happy this moment. I am in front of this camera, trying to speak from the language of my heart, trying to be as eloquent as I can be, trying my best to do what I think is my purpose, trying to share with you something I think will help you, something I hope helps you, inspires you, whether it's information, whether it's inspiration, whether it's a thought or a feeling. But it's now. It's this moment I get to be with you. Forever. See you guys next video. 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 See you guys next video.